highway stretched out like a black ribbon, the only light the nervous glow of my dashboard. Rain lashed against the windshield, blurring the world into streaks of gray. Low on gas, phone dead, and in the middle of nowhere? Fantastic. Headlights stabbed through the downpour, revealing a ramshackle gas station. It looked like a forgotten relic from a bygone era, the peeling paint and crooked pumps screaming "avoid." But with a sputtering engine and a growing sense of dread, I didn't have much choice. The bell above the door jangled a rusty welcome as I pushed inside. The air was thick with stale oil and something else, something sweet and cloying that made my stomach churn. A single flickering bulb cast long, distorted shadows across the room. Behind the counter stood a man, his face obscured by darkness. "Howdy," he rasped, his voice sandpaper rough. He shuffled closer, revealing sunken eyes and a smile that didn't quite reach them. "What can I get ya?" "Just fill her up, please," I croaked, trying to ignore the unease prickling my skin. The man moved with unnatural slowness, his every step a creak against the warped floorboards. As he pumped the gas, I scanned the store. Empty candy wrappers littered the dusty counter, and a fly-blown magazine displayed a picture of a smiling family, their faces unsettlingly blank. Suddenly, the man stopped pumping. "Funny thing," he drawled, his voice even lower. "You look just like her." A knot of ice tightened in my gut. Her? Who was her? Before I could ask, the bell above the door chimed again. A wave of relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The figure who entered wasn't another traveler, but a wisp of a girl, her clothes hanging limply on her skeletal frame, her vacant eyes locked onto mine, a single word escaping her pale lips. "Help." The man chuckled, a low, chilling sound. "Looks like you found yourself in the wrong place, honey." Panic surged through me. I lunged for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The man was walking towards me, a glint of something sharp in his hand. The girl shuffled closer, her touch sending a jolt of icy fear through me. Just then, a deafening crack of thunder split the air, followed by a blinding flash of lightning. In that instant, the power went out, plunging the store into darkness. I screamed, scrambling back, my heart hammering against my ribs. When my eyes adjusted, I saw nothing but the faint outline of the doorway. The man, the girl, gone. My breath hitched as I stumbled outside, the rain a welcome baptism. I threw myself into my car, slamming the door shut, and peeled out of that gas station with a screech of tires, never daring to look back. The road ahead was still shrouded in darkness, but it didn't matter. It was better than the terrifying welcome I'd just received. The memory of that gas station, the man, the girl, it would forever be etched in my mind, a chilling reminder of the horror that can lurk in the most unexpected places. The fuel gauge dipped below that red line, a familiar knot of dread forming in my stomach. Phone died an hour ago thanks to a rogue rainstorm, and the nearest town, according to the flickering map on my dying GPS, was 10 miles down a deserted stretch of highway. Great. Headlights speared through the inky blackness, revealing a lone gas station like a beacon in the storm. Relief washed over me, momentarily eclipsing the creepy vibe emanating from the place. It was boarded up on one side, the peeling paint on the other side advertising brands that hadn't existed for decades. Still, gas was gas. The bell above the door wheezed a rusty complaint as I entered. The air inside was thick with dust motes dancing in a single weak bulb's glow. A lone figure hunched behind the counter, his face obscured by shadow. "Howdy," he rasped, his voice like sandpaper on bone. He shuffled closer, revealing roomy eyes and a beard that looked like tangled fishing line. "Need filling up?" "Yeah, please," I replied, trying to ignore the sudden chill that snaked down my spine. "And maybe a phone charger if you've got one." He grunted, his movements slow and deliberate. As he pumped the gas, I scanned the store. Empty chip bags lay scattered on the counter, their contents long petrified. A dusty jukebox lurked in the corner, its chrome surface reflecting a distorted image of myself, pale and drawn. A sudden scraping sound made me jump. A crow, black as sin, perched on the boarded-up window, its beady eyes fixed on me. It tapped its beak, a rhythmic thrumming that sent shivers down my arms. "Don't mind Edgar," the old man croaked, his voice barely a whisper. "Just likes to chat." The crow cawed again, a harsh guttural sound that seemed to echo through the room. I forced a smile, the hairs on the back of my neck prickling. Just as the gas pump clicked off, the lights flickered and died. The room plunged into darkness, the only sound my ragged breaths and the rhythmic tapping of the crow. Panic clawed at my throat. How much do I owe you?" I stammered into the void. Silence. Then a dry chuckle, closer this time, right beside my ear. I yelped, scrambling back, bumping into something cold and solid. "Don't worry, honey," the voice rasped, a hint of something predatory in its tone. "We can work out a deal." The crow screeched again, a sound laced with a chilling glee. I fumbled for my keys, my heart hammering against my ribs. With a desperate shove, I pushed open the door and bolted out into the rain, the storm a welcome embrace compared to the horror that lurked within. I sprinted to my car, the image of the crow's beady eyes following me. Throwing myself behind the wheel, I slammed the door shut and peeled out of there, tires squealing on the wet pavement. I didn't dare look back. The memory of that gas station and the chilling voice, a terrifying reminder of the darkness that can hide in plain sight. You ever been on a long, dark road, miles stretching out in front of you? Nothing but the dim glow of your headlights. That's the kind of night it was when Jack pulled into that gas station. The place had seen better days, that's for sure. It was the kind of place that made you check your doors were locked twice before getting out of your car. Jack wasn't the superstitious type, but there was something off about this place. Maybe it was the way the wind howled through the rusted-out pumps, or maybe it was the flickering neon sign that spelled out "open" in crooked letters. Whatever it was, Jack had a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach. He stepped out of his car and headed towards the door of the convenience store. The bell above the door jingled as he pushed it open, and he was hit with a blast of warm, stale air. The guy behind the counter didn't even look up from his magazine as Jack walked in. "Evening," Jack said, trying to sound casual. "Just need to fill up my tank." The guy grunted and pointed towards the pumps without looking up. Jack hesitated for a moment, then made his way back outside. As he filled up his tank, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He glanced around nervously, but there was nobody in sight. Just him and the empty road stretching out into the darkness. That's when he heard it. A soft whispering sound like voices carried on the wind. Jack froze, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked around again, but there was no